Hi, welcome to another type of content. We're making this video in order to debunk the persistent claim that the Igbos are Jews. It is a shame that people cannot be proud of their history and heritage. Igbo people are known for their long history, in Nigeria and in West Africa. It is a pity that some people will not accept a biological scientific method that have been conducted and has proven that Igbo people do not have a link to Israel. Yes, a DNA test was conducted a few years ago, and when the results came out in 2017, the rabbi specifically said that Igbo people do not even share 1% in ethnicity with the Jews, that the records that they have about the people living in the area, that Igbo people do not share that genetic link. So why are some people still insisting that Igbo people are Jews? It is a shame, and has gone to the level of making the Igbos a laughing stock. You cannot keep attaching to another group when scientifically it has been proven that you do not have a link to those people. So let's take a look at a little history of the Igbo. Many discoveries that was done that proves that the Igbo race is older, is much older than Israel. It all started in 1939 when Mr. Anozie was digging in his compound. He didn't have any knowledge of artifacts and all that. He was digging up his compound. He saw some artifacts, bronze artifacts, and he didn't know the value or their worth. So he just gave them away to his neighbors and friends. That was during the colonial era, 1939. So when the British district head of the area heard the news, he came over and bought the bronze artifacts from the people he gave them to. So at that time, it was believed that Igbo people do not know anything about blacksmith, that they can't form iron, they can't smell them, they can't change their shape, that any such discovery must have had a European origin, But that notion will later be proven wrong. And it will be discovered later that Igbo people have been doing blacksmith, forming metals a long time ago before the Europeans. 20 years later, in 1959, another group came and they started digging in the same area where Mr. Anozie dug in Ibuku. They dug many sites and they discovered more and more artifacts, bronze artifacts. They are all in the National Museum. Of course, a white man took some of them. So it was when they now did carbon dating, because the one that Anozie discovered, they didn't do any carbon dating. It was when they did the carbon dating on this one that they found out that it was dated to the 9th century. So that 9th century became a huge surprise around the world, because it means it is now 500 years earlier than the ones discovered in Europe. So it changed everything that black men do not know anything about blacksmiths. After all, it's through blacksmiths that the white men were able to fabricate guns and all that, all the things they used in, enforcing their colonialism, controlling of an area by force. They did that through arms. So if the Igbo people or black men knew blacksmith earlier than white people, why weren't they able to form weapons in order to defend themselves? They used to form weapons, but they didn't form weapons like guns. The weapons they used then was spears, and arches. Much later, specifically in 1964, another site was discovered around Nsukka, where they dug and found many metal slides. So when they did carbon dating on these fresh discoveries in the Nsukka area, they found out that these ones dated 2000 BC. 2000 BC is very far away. That's 4,000 years ago. At that time, Israel wasn't in existence. So how can you be related to Israel when you were existing before them? Because in 4,000 years ago, that was when Jacob was born. Jacob was the son of Abraham, and Jacob was the founding father of Israel. He had 12 sons. Those 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel. So Igbos can never come from Jacob. Rather, it might be the other way around, because they were already existing before Jacob was born. So looking at all the evidence, it should have put this matter to rest. But a lot of people are bent on propagating the fact that Igbo people have an attachment to the Jews or Israel. It's a pity that they are playing on people's intelligence, because a lot of people are emotionally and spiritually attached to Israel because of religion, you know. So when they are told that it's not only a religious link that you have with Israel, that you now have a genetic link with Israel, they will quickly accept without looking at the facts. But it is time people stopped paying attention to this kind of people, because they are just about, maybe they want to sell their book, because they know many people will buy and read to see why, to see evidence that they really belong to Israel. But the scientific evidence and historical evidence has proven all along that Igbo history is older than that of Israel. So the father can never come from the son. Rather, the son can only come from the father. Also, there are cultural similarities among many tribes. Even in Nigeria, there are many tribes that celebrate certain things the same way, certain ceremonies, certain rituals are done the same way. You know, it doesn't mean that those two tribes have a genetic link. They do not have a genetic link. In Igbo land, on the 8th day after a male child is born, he is circumcised. That's the same way the Jews do theirs. It doesn't mean that they have a genetic link. In Igbo land also, there's 4 days in a week. Eke, Orie, Afo, Nkwo. The Japanese also have 4 days in a week, culturally. It doesn't mean that there's a genetic link between the two. It should not be mistaken. Yes. So this is why history should continue to be taught in schools, because when you look at all the archaeological evidence of Igbo history and heritage, and people still neglect all those and continue to propagate falsehood that Igbo people belong to the Jews, it just makes us a laughing stock. You know, you cannot be forcefully attaching to another tribe, especially when you are older. It has been proven that your tribe is older than that particular tribe. It's so shameful to watch. So this might not be the end of this video. We might have a part 2, depending on how events turn out and how people react in the comments. Thank you for watching.